Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler and today we have a review for you of the Kizer K or wait NI 4424A2. Yeah. Alright guys, so this is the Kizer numbers and letters. This thing's pretty cool though. Despite not having a name, this thing's awesome. I traded this to Jake, full disclosure, and he was on the fence because it's such a big knife that he's not sure if he wants it. Well, then he saw it and I talked him into it, not because I want to get rid of it. It's actually a really cool knife. So these are titanium scales, titanium frame lock. We have an over travel stop. Let's see here. No over travel stop. I lied. Titanium frame. We have a titanium scales, titanium frame lock with no over travel stop. This is on phosphor bronze, and it does feel like there's Teflon in there. I haven't taken it apart, and you can't find too much information on this, and I cannot see the Teflon, but it feels so smooth. It feels like it's on Teflon and phosphor bronze. Just throwing that out there. We have this titanium pocket clip, which I verified is titanium. It's not very impressive looking. And it does not, for deep carry purposes, it's this much of your knife is sticking out of your pocket, which is quite a bit, but that's all right. We have a ton of hardware here, which is kind of hard to tell because this knife is a little old if this is a Torx or a hex. It looks more like Torx, but then you have this kind of pivot here, which is a semi-rounded out hex. I did tighten this up to reduce any blade play and completely center up the knife, so that's not too much of an issue. We do have a titanium backspacer here with, I'm going to call this milling. I'm not going to call this jimping. It's just like a jimping milling pattern, really. Doesn't really serve a purpose, but looks pretty cool. There is an anode job going on here that looks sweet. I mean, I don't really know what to call it. It's almost like feathers that are looking on there. That's pretty cool. It is a right hand only, and it does have tip up, tip down, which is nice. We have a stop pin right here, an oversized stop pin. That thing is freaking massive. But you do not have a tang that wraps around it because the stop pin is so far out. On the inside of the frame right here, you have some scalloping. You have a cutout for the finger to address the frame lock, and then some scalloping going on the frame lock itself with some really nice just milling lines right there. And I can tell you this thing is a joy to flip. In hand, I have so much freaking room. It's insane. So ergonomically, this thing's really, really nice. I don't feel like my hand's going to slide up there despite there not being much protection in front of the blade. I can see how that might happen, but I don't really see that being an issue. And you can really, I mean, this knife is built for anybody, except for super small hands, maybe. As you can see, this is a thumb stud. And this comes with a nice hollow grind on this S35 VN, a very long drop point style blade. The spine is nicely chamfered. It's not crowned. I'm going to call it chamfered. The edges are just knocked down to where there's nothing sharp. We do have this long landing strip of very narrow jimping that is functional. It's very grippy and it's not like hard or rough on your hands. Thumb studs are just generic thumb studs. There's nothing special about them, but they do function quite well. Now, one of the awesome things about this knife is, and I always do that. I'm like, check out this action, and then I fail to flip, right? It is so fun to flip, and I think part of that is because of what I'm assuming is Teflon with phosphor bronze in there. Feels so freaking smooth. It is not drop shot. I mean, look, it's not drop shot, but it will fall if you give it a little bit of encouragement. And I think this knife is made a little bit like a couple years back because it's a discontinued Kizer model, which sucks because this thing being so large is kind of one of my favorite blade shapes in a long time. It's one of those that like I wanted to just beat the hell out of, and then I'm like, dude, somebody else is really gonna love this knife. You're just gonna beat it and then leave it in your case. So I wanted to beat the hell out of it because this thing just has so much cutting edge and there's so much blade here and it's that hollow grind and it just feels like you should be just, oh, it's awesome. This thing is so cool for the size. Now, I'm harping on the size like it's a good thing. It is a double-edged sword, no pun intended, because it is so large that it's not really practical for a lot of things, right? There's a lot of attention to detail here. It's very nice. Let's see. Yeah, I already talked about that. There's no milling on the inside of the titanium. And it's kind of basically two pieces of titanium slapped onto a titanium backspacer onto an S35 VN blade. That's kind of what you're getting. It's just another generic, but because this blade is so large, the phosphor bronze and Teflon, assuming, are just, they feel so satisfying. And this thing is a joy to hold in hand. Enough kind of gushing over this monstrosity. Let's get you guys some specs. Funny story, let's see if it does it again. When I went to go let Jake know how big this knife was, I took a picture of what the overall... Hey, what are you doing? Tear out there, you little son of a bitch. When I took a picture of the actual weight of this knife, it was hilarious because he's like, I don't know, it's too big for me. And then it came up, oh, it's not doing it. Come on, give me a little bit more. It came up, instead of 665, it actually came up 666, which is hilarious. Like, it was like one of those where I'm like, maybe you don't actually want this knife. You might be right. So, it's a whopping 6.66 ounces. This thing is a massive, massive knife. There's no joking around about that. I mean, it's you can't really beat around the bush there. And I think what I really like about this blade shape is it kind of has this gradual belly down here. It's gradual, and then it almost has like kind of like a clip or spear point, almost like a dagger point in the end. And it just looks awesome. Okay, so overall, this knife is coming in at 9 inches long. The blade length is coming in at 4 inches, and the cutting edge is coming in right at 4 inches too. There is no sharpening choil, so you are going to grow a little bit of material as you sharpen this down right here. Other than that, I mean, it's a huge blade. You shouldn't have to sharpen it as much because you have so much blade length to use. Just use the whole blade length before you have to sharpen it. I know it's a lot easier said than done. Plus, some of us really enjoy sharpening, so we look for excuses. All right, the overall blade stock thickness of this guy is coming in at a whopping 155 thousandths. So it's not going to be thin, and that's cool because it's a big knife. I would rather have a thick blade stock. The coolest part about that is it's coming to a whopping 22 thousandths behind the edge. So despite having 150 thousandths blade stock, this hollow grind is coming down to a 22 thousandths. I mean, that's incredible. It's pretty good, especially for, like I said, I think this is a couple years old. This is coming in at right at half of an inch thickness, and in height, it's coming in at a whopping 1.5. Still smaller than most of your Spydercos. So you can't really hate on it for that. I'll get into it when it gets to the likes and dislikes, but I can tell you this thing definitely decimates your pocket, so it really doesn't matter how tall it is. It's just a massive freaking knife. You're not putting anything else in your pocket with this guy. Here is your feldspar and your mini feldspar for size comparisons. I'm going to compare it to one more knife that I don't normally compare things to, just because I feel like the size is similar. All right, here is your Rat Model 2 and your Rat Model 1. Even the Rat Model 1 looks small next to this guy, which is impressive. It's hard to make the Rat Model 1 look small. That'd be like somebody saying The Rock looks small, right? Dwayne Johnson, you look a little small. It's hard to do. All right, so here is your Civivi Elementum, obviously smaller, and your Civivi Brazen. Once again, obviously smaller, right? Last but not least, until I get to my special appearance here, here is your Spyderco PM2 and your Spyderco Sage 5. Obviously, once again, both of them are smaller. Okay. Special guest appearance here of womp womp wah, the Bergblades Iron Wolf. So most people haven't felt the Bergblades Iron Wolf, but this kind of puts into perspective both sizes of these knives. It's still actually longer than the Iron Wolf, but you can see why the comparison is there for the size anyways, right? I need to carry this guy. Love that iron wolf. All right, so what are my likes? First and foremost, I love this blade. This hollow grind and this really thick coming down to a really thin, and then just even the blade shape. I'm not a huge drop point blade fan, drop point style fan, but this one in particular really speaks to me. I love the way this looks. It's almost got that semi-clip point style, not really semi-spear point, semi-dagger. You know, I like that a lot more. I think this blade looks awesome, and it is definitely functional. Two, I think the action is really good. Granted, you have a lot of weight behind both the blade and the scales, but the action, which I just failed twice, but doing it, God damn it. Let me do it off camera. See, you hear that? I just, all right, ready? There we go. I did flick my wrist for it, but there. All right. So the actions, believe me, the action's great. I really do like the action. It feels so smooth. Maybe it's that I like how smooth it is rather than how fidgety it actually is. The smooth feeling does feel really, really nice. Three, what do I like about this? It's freaking fun, guys. This thing is just fun. That's all it is. I mean, is it realistic to carry every day? Hell no, it's too damn big. But then again, I know guys that carry the Cold Steel Espada and Voyagers and stuff, and you're kind of like, I wouldn't carry that every day, but it's fun. And that's what this is. This is really fun. Fourth thing I like is the ergonomics, due to the freedom of such a large handle, is just fine. It almost kind of feels like a fixed blade, short of the fact that you have a frame lock going on here. I mean, it's just, you have so much freedom in this. It's great. So what don't I like about this knife? It's such a large, beefy boy that I feel like there's no milling on the inside of here, and maybe you should have done it. It might have been cool, but maybe that would have thrown it off, right? I mean, let's see where the balance point is. That's the balance point. So, yeah, you could have freaking milled it out. And it wouldn't have been so ass heavy, right? The balance point's all the way back here. Yeah, you could have milled out these scales. If you would have milled out these scales, this knife probably would have felt a shit ton better in hand just due to that balance alone. The other thing I really don't like about this, and I know this is a used knife, it's beat up, this pocket clip, I mean, it doesn't even go a quarter of the way down. I mean, this knife is freaking huge. You probably should put, like, even a popsicle stick with the same type of anodization or something on there. Might look better than what you got here. I just don't think this looks right. I could be wrong. Maybe you guys disagree with me. I think that pocket clip just looks stupid. Going back to my dislikes, I really wish there was some milling on the inside of this guy. If it had milling, that balance point would have been better. This probably would feel a hell of a lot better in hand. And it already does feel really good. But if you were to knock out some of that milling, there you go. But what that leads me into is the price. Now, the price is a little wishy-washy because this is a discontinued model. It's hard to find an exact price on this guy. That being said, mostly what I've found is anywhere from the $130 to $165 range. I have seen some obnoxious sites listing it for like $270, definitely not worth $270. For $130 though, this is a steal. This is awesome for $130. And even for $160, it's not bad for what you're getting. I mean, we have a lot of titanium S35 VN flippers. The only thing it's missing with today's day and age is the bearings, but I would almost rather keep the phosphor bronze, which what I'm assuming is Teflon with it, there. And the reason I call it Teflon is because what I'm assuming is Teflon, because you can see phosphor bronze in there. Let's see. You can see phosphor bronze in there. You guys might not be able to, but there you go. All the way down there. There's phosphor bronze, but I mean, I haven't taken it apart, like I said. Plus, I don't really want to work this pivot too much because it's not the greatest pivot design. That might be another dislike. It's like the hardware, there's so much of it, and I can't even tell what it is. It's like they almost tried to do, it almost looks both like hex and Torx for a lot of these screws, because it's hexed on the top, but it looks like there's a star pattern that gets a little bit more narrow inside. I mean, I appreciate if that's what they were trying to do, but no, I mean, pick one or the other. And then this kind of pivot is just asking to be stripped out. So, yeah, you know, like, I don't know. That would be another dislike. So this is the Kizer KI4424A2. I can't believe this thing doesn't have a freaking name. It is actually really, really fun. Is it realistic to carry in your pocket every day? Hell no. But is it fun to carry and just play around with? Hell yeah. This thing's pretty sweet. And using this, I want Jake to give us an update on how he likes using this. Because this, if you're going to go use it for hard use tasks, would be super, super fun. Even breaking down boxes, I think this thing would just be a joy. That is all I got for you guys today. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys stay sharp, stay safe, and have a great freaking day. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my Patreon. This is my Instagram, everydayedc_77. We'll do a special shout out to all the Patreons: John K, Sammy, Eggs and Ham, Jason M, Dogtooth, Kaiba, Mickey, Wolf, and Captain Steve. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great freaking day.